Good evening, YouTube world. I'm your host, Paul Italia. If you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe to my channel. So, what's going on, everybody? We got a great, epic episode lined up for today. But before I give the info and who our special guest is and all that, I want to just kind of update everybody on what's going on both of the channels. We're also live feed on my other channel, Paul Italia Arm Wrestling channel. And I kind of just wanted to catch everybody up to date, all my arm wrestling buddies and all my fitness friends over there. I've been posting a lot and, sharing everything from my new business channel on Forget About It, junk removal YouTube channel. And I didn't want to just kind of bore you guys. So I was trying to figure a way, what can I, bring into the arm wrestling world and kind of keep this channel going. And so, the way I'm going to go about this is I'm going to kind of get back into my fitness journey. I'm going to kind of show the way how to stay fit, over 40 years old. I don't see too many people out there kind of showing the ways. And, when you got a full-time job, you're running a business, you might be an entrepreneur, got a couple businesses going. How do you squeeze in that gym time and all that? So on that channel, we'll have that dedicated to that. And we're also going to kind of just, whatever's going on in my life at that time, I'm going to keep you guys updated with any kind of traveling I do. We'll be making some videos and kind of more of like a personal side. You get to see, some of the toys I get, some of the cars, some of the houses, some of the things that I, have interest in other than business. So that's what we got coming up on the Paul Italia Arm Wrestling channel. So arm wrestlers, hang in there. There's stuff coming for you, content that you guys are going to enjoy. And for all my entrepreneurs out there over there, Forget About It, junk removal. We got a big show next week. We got the Junk Family episode 2 coming back. This is the community chat that we got going on where everybody's invited. We shared a link in the chat room. So if you want to come on and, if you want to just hang out in the chat and talk with us through there, or if you actually want to come on live with us, we welcome everybody in the community. I could have 10 people on at one time on the StreamYard. We tried it out. I think it was 3 weeks ago. It was very successful. Everybody enjoyed it. Everybody wants to do it again. So we got that going on next Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you mark that off in the calendar and make sure you subscribe to the channel so you'll be notified when it's coming on. So with that being said, I want to introduce today's special guest. This guy is a serial entrepreneur. You could tell, man, he's on it, man. He's always hustling. He's into fitness. He's got a amazing YouTube studio, and he caught my attention right from the beginning. He's a man of my style and everything, so I hit him up, and we had to get him on. So with that being said, today's special guest is Sky Lane. Let me bring him on. What's up, Sky? How you doing today, brother?
Paul, forget about it. What's going on, man?
Forget about it. Beautiful day out, my man. Beautiful day. So what's going on, Sky, man? You a fellow entrepreneur, bro. When I seen your channel, I just connected with you right away. I was like, this dude's he loves fitness, he loves cars, he's got good taste in houses, and he's obviously in a good business, junk removal and all that. So I was like, I gotta learn more about this guy. So let's first start off, bro. Let's just hear about where did you grow up? Some interesting facts about yourself. Were you an athlete in high school? Just give us some details, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. First things first, I appreciate you having me on, man. Any opportunity I get to get out here and tell my story, especially with somebody as unique as you, kind of carving a path in something we don't have in junk removal / dumpster rental yet, man, it's awesome. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Sky Lane, founder of Junk Success. #1 junk removal dumpster rental startup program mentorship out. And basically, man, long story short, I'm from the South, man. If you can't tell from my accent, you know what I mean? They call me a city cowboy a little bit. So I'm from Knoxville, Tennessee, born and raised pretty much until I was 17, 18 years old. Went off to play some college football, D1 AA. And, spent the last 8 years in Cleveland, Ohio, where I started my junk removal business. Built it from there, sold my junk removal business legitly through a broker and everything like that. And that's what kind of led me to my path now of being a junk removal startup coach. So that's basically online business coach, whatever you want to call it. That's pretty much my story in a nutshell. So I think, with my sports background and my upbringing, it kind of naturally led me to being a coach. And probably if I wasn't good in business, I'd probably be a college football coach, to be real with you. So it's pretty much my story in a nutshell.
Very nice, man. So let's break into that a little, man. So first off, how did you find about junk removal 7, 8 years ago? Was it, a thing out on YouTube? Was it like as big as it is today?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. I used to work for a moving company in high school and college, to be honest with you. I'd come home in the winters and summers from football, even in high school. And for the moving company, we'd been in downtown Knoxville, be at dump sites, whatever, and we'd see like college hunks going by. 1-800 got junk. I'm like, man, they got some badass trucks, but I didn't know much about it. You know what I mean? I just knew they had some badass trucks. So I didn't think much more about it. Got done with football, moved to Cleveland, Ohio, got into banking. So most people don't know I was a small business banker before I ever started my own business in the first place. So I was already helping small businesses in all ranges, whether it be a restaurant, nail salon, landscaping business. So I already had a knack for it. And, I was like, man, it's time for me to start something of my own. So I started looking in different avenues. I'm looking at hot shot trucking. I'm looking at moving company. I'm looking at medical courier service. And something came across and it was junk removal. And I'm like, I remember that from college, seeing those trucks. So I'm doing my research. Like most of us, they're talking about $1,000 a day. I said, all right, now let's talk some money. $1,000 a day with a pickup truck. So, but got me a beater. I was making pretty good money, maybe $60,000 a year in my early 20s, but I was a knucklehead, blowing my money, doing dumb stuff with it, and got the truck. And so that's how I got going in junk removal, man.
Wow. And back then, who was like the go-to YouTube videos? Like, when I first got in, I kind of call it YouTube University, where I just started binge watching like Sonoma Strong, Andrew Thompson. You were amongst the couple of people that I found right away. So kind of like, who was the go-to person back then?
You got to keep it real, man. And you definitely got to pay homage to the people that came before you. So a lot of people, I think he had an impact on that people don't bring up is Lee Godbold. You know what I'm saying? I like that Lee came with professionalism to the junk removal industry. He showed you what it's like to run a $4 or $5 million year company. He showed you what it's like to give, game on YouTube from a really professional aspect and down to earth aspect. Hey, if you're starting off with this is how it goes. If you're trying to have a 3-4 locations, this is also how you do it. And then you got to pay homage to Matt and JoJo. You know what I mean? Matt out there with the Tacoma back in, 6-7 years ago, showing how it's done. JoJo coming in, one of the first women, pioneering the way. And I don't think enough people pay homage to the people that they see. They try to act like they just got it. But no, those guys I definitely saw right off the rip, and definitely what helped me get going in the space.
Yeah, that's amazing. I just had Lee on my channel. I think it was 2 weeks back. I posted a clip out today actually about that. So guys, if you want to check it out, check out Lee Godbold. I mean, this dude is just, built an empire in the junk industry. He's got 3 different companies. He's the founder of Junk Removal Authority. He's doing it large, big scale. So, if he advertises for, if your company is $1 million plus a year, he's the guy that could help you out. So definitely get over there and check him out. And I think this week we got a couple more clips going to be released on the channel. So definitely check that out. It's a lot of knowledge was thrown that day. Definitely a great guy in the industry. And we all know Sonoma Strong is doing it big. They're the people that got me all up in this junk removal. I went to that first expo. It just happened to be like a month in when I just got in, and it was in my area, and I got to meet them in person. And I mean, they just took me under the wing. Amazing people, they are the people I feel like
The
today.
people's champ.
Yeah, for real, for real. So yeah, shout out to Sonoma Strong. I know they'll be popping in there. And they'll also be popping in next week. We got the Junk Family coming on. That's the community show on Tuesday night. They're definitely going to be coming on. So definitely check that out as well. So I want to find out, man. So was there any other businesses before this? I know you said you got into banking and all, but what made you go move from Tennessee to Ohio? Was it, something with business, or was it just life brought you there?
I'll tell you what, I used to, in college, I had some buddies that was from Columbus. I loved the Columbus area. It was kind of like a city in the Midwest that was like down south. So it really just resonated with me. But I had a buddy at the time that stayed in Cleveland, and he was like, and I was ready to get out of Tennessee. At the time, Knoxville wasn't the size city it is now. It was much smaller. And I've always been more of a city type, you know what I mean, just from the South. And so I'm like, I'm ready to get out of here. I packed my car up. I knew one person in Cleveland and got gone. So that's really what got me to Cleveland. But the business, I've always been entrepreneurial spirited. So I went to 3 different colleges, and I was a barber at every college. Any way I can make money. I customize shoes, I flip stuff. I've been a hustler since I was young. You know what I mean? So, kind of see my pops do it at a young age. And so now I was, not run a business, but see that hustle mentality. And so with that being said, that just kind of naturally led me into entrepreneurship. I always learned in a different way. I always kind of saw life in a different way than most people, even from young. I was like, when I was like 11 years old, I just knew I wanted to do real estate. I was the 11-year-old that's just talking about real estate, didn't know what the hell he's talking about, but I just knew I wanted to do it. I wasn't into everything else that most people were into. But that's pretty much how I transitioned from getting into banking and then going to entrepreneurship, because banking was cool, but I had a skewed outlook on it. I thought, residential or not residential banking, not private banking, just regular banking was, I was going to make bukus. I just knew I was going to make 400,000 or 500,000 a year, killing it. That wasn't the case at all. So once I started seeing my commission and getting paid basis points this big on stuff, I'm like, yes, ain't going to work.
Yeah, especially with your background, man. It seems like you like to be active. You're into fitness and all that. So that's another plus of junk removal. I mean, you're out every day, you're lifting things, you're staying active and all. And, I like doing that physical work and the more endorphins going and all that. It's a great feeling for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was one thing, like even today, I love what I do now, even though I'm behind the desk a lot of the day, but I still have a lot of free time of where I work in my steps. I work in my workouts. I go to walks. I have a walking treadmill. So fitness is one of those things that, like, when you're really trying to level up in entrepreneurship, when you're trying to get, from that beginner to that intermediate level or to that moderate level, you've got to implement the fitness in, because if you don't have a lot of discipline, fitness will help you get there. Health will help you get there. Not saying that's going to be albeit that's the only thing to do, but it just plays a massive role. And then also in junk removal itself, being out in the field, there's no feeling like it. When you're out there making the money and you're in the field, when you don't have a lot of employees left, yet there's no feeling like it, because it's like you're touching the money and you're helping these people. And you see, if you have a 75-year-old woman that can't lift anything and you help her clean out her entire basement that's been there for 30 years, husband might've passed away, something like that. And you see the look on her face of just, wow, you really helped me. That's what it's all about. That's why I loved it.
Yeah, that's an amazing feeling. And I just recently have been experiencing that, and I really didn't expect it getting into this. I didn't, think of that. And the way I've been helping people and just watching their face, just like you said, it really makes you feel great. Like you're really helping out the community, which is a great thing. I want to shout out. We got a bunch of people in the chat. I want to shout out. We got Swole Zach in the house. He says, I hope this is arm wrestling related. No, Zach, sorry about that, brother. Not arm wrestling today, but I told you guys I'm going to bring it back to fitness on the Paul Italia channel. So I'm going to keep you guys entertained. We'll have some good content in there. We got USS Liberty. Never forget. He says, wasn't Sky Lane defeated in his last 3 super matches? Sky, you don't arm wrestle, do you, bro?
I don't arm wrestle. I box a little bit, but arm wrestling, y'all might get me on that.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, you're thinking of somebody else, USS Liberty. He's not an arm wrestler. I mean, he looks like it, man. He's got some guns on him. You could tell he could be a good arm wrestler. He's got the leverage and all. We got Drew 24 in the house. What's up, Drew? How you doing? We got Scarface Mink. How are you, Scarface? My man, Roman family. He goes, nice to see this video for sure. What's up, Paul? And how's it going, Sky? My name is Julio from Sonoma Stronghold.
The Julio.
Julio in the house. What's up, Julio? How you been, brother? Hell yeah. And he says, hey, Sky, is there a lot of haulers in your area?
In Knoxville, it's growing. It's growing. It's definitely not like Cleveland. Cleveland, it's a dime a dozen. You probably got at least 50 companies in greater Cleveland. In Knoxville, it's coming up, because Knoxville's went from 250,000 to about right at 1 million in about 5 years. So wow. Probably say there's at least 15 to 20 junk removal companies now. So if you're going to get in, you get in now.
Oh yeah. And we got the Junkster. He says, my coach Sky, both you guys are awesome. Hell yeah. You got one of your students in here.
Big Jason. That's my man from Jersey.
Oh, hell yeah. Fellow East Coast. My man. What's up, brother? My girl's from Jersey, from the shore. I'm from New York, Queens, Howard Beach in the house over here, baby. And we got Alan E. He says, Esau Services LLC in the house, on the way home from a job, helped an old lady. Hell yeah, Alan. Way to go, brother.
Yep. One of my clients there from Minnesota. What's up, Alan?
Oh, Jay, this is Jason.
Yeah.
That's my man. I met him at the expo. What's up, Jay? How you doing, brother? Hell yeah, my man. Oh yeah. And then we got doing great. Saw this live, had to come through. Hell yeah. Thank you, Julio. Really appreciate that. So now I want to really dive in, man, and really learn about your business and all, and like how did you grow it, and how big did you get it to, and all that. So when you first started and all, you said you kind of, I think it was a pickup truck you started off initially with.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started off with a 2012 F-250, 300,000 miles. I think I paid 50, two-wheel drive in Cleveland, Ohio, by the way. But $5,800 is what I spent on it, used my tax money to buy it, and financed the dump trailer. Had a $170 payment a month, which for if anybody's watching this and you're thinking about it, if you have good credit and you think you're going to last in this business, financing a dump trailer, if you don't have a lot of capital, is probably one of the best things you could do. They hold their value. And
How much was the dump trailer?
it was 9,000 at the time, financed for like 10,200, and I ended up paying it off pretty quickly.
Okay, so you start off with the pickup and the dump trailer.
Mm-hmm.
How long is it now until you go upgrade to the next size, and what's the next truck after that you go to?
Yeah, so the beginning of my story goes, I was pretty cocky, a little overconfident, and was like, "This is junk removal. I don't need any help in this. YouTube University. I'll do this stuff on my own." Yeah. And I got jobs and did my own thing, and very quickly I learned I didn't know jack squat about pricing. I knew a little bit, but I'm doing concrete jobs for $400 when it should have been $3,000. And things like that. So pretty quickly, my money's running down. I'm getting jobs, money's running down. I said, you know what, dude? Let me humble myself and let me find somebody. And I knew a Lee, I was with JRA for an amount of time, and linked up with those guys, mentored me pretty well. I also bought some of their services. And I think by month 3 or 4, I was doing 11,000 a month part-time. So I was working 9 to 5, literally like 8:40 to 5:15 at the bank. I'd get off, drive my truck and trailer to work, change my clothes, and go do jobs. Had a newborn at the time and everything. Wow. And yeah, and so when I saw that 11,500 part time, and I'm making $3,000 at the bank, I said, "Oh, somebody making sense here. Peace." So I put my 2 weeks in, didn't give a damn, really didn't have that much saved up, and said, "I got it," because you put your back in the corner. That's when diamonds are made or you fold. So I'm gonna make a diamond every time. So I left and went full time, and it was history from there. By month 10, I had my first $34,000 month. And that's our 34 to 35,000. And that's really when I started YouTube. So a lot of people think I started my YouTube in the very beginning. I started it right at a year's time. And that's when I was hitting my 34, came right back with a $37,000 month. And
so you're at the 10-month point and you just hit this 34K. How did you do it? Where did it come from? Was it just organic marketing? Were you paying for ads? Were you doing like Google ads, Facebook ads? What was working for you?
Yeah, man. So really, I teach in my coaching program now, hybrid marketing. And so long story short, I didn't know I was really doing it at the time, but I was. And it's really a mixture of organic and paid, because one of them's a back end marketing and the other one's a front end marketing. You got to have both of them to work together in cohesion to have a business that lasts a long time. So, at the end of the day, I'm really putting out yard signs. I'm really giving out business cards. I'm going to apartment complexes. I'm putting in the work with storage units and property managers. But I'm running Google ads at the time, which back then, 5 years ago, they weren't the cost that they were today, but they were still expensive. You got to have somebody $900 to $1,000 a month manage them, and then you got to have another $2,000, $3,000 budget. So I just risked it, and it worked pretty, within a month and a half of getting on, it started working. And so it was just a mixture, but I would probably say 65, 70% Google ads. The rest really came from everything else.
Okay, so when you started with the Google ads, did you tackle it yourself, or did you go and hire? That was what you worked with Lee and JRA and all that?
I worked with a couple of different companies, and this is, something I teach my students is you're trying to build a business. The whole goal of this thing for most people is to get away from that 9 to 5, or if you have a struggling junk removal business, is to elevate and get to a multi-6-figure level so you have a foundation, right? With that, if you've never ran Google ads or you've never ran any kind of ads, best thing you focus on is building this business, learning the habits of a successful 6-figure entrepreneur, get the business going, and let's put that onto someone who's good at it. Because the more time you're trying to learn Google ads and the more time that you're trying to focus on campaigns and learn all this stuff, you're not really working on those habits. You're really running crazy, losing money. And then some people just end up quitting before they get going. So I would say I teach, even in my program, I teach people how to do Facebook ads. But if you're going to run Google ads and you have the budget for it, let's go with a reputable company that's proven and go that route.
So, Sky, let me ask you this, man. So, you start working with a new company and all. What can you expect as far as Google Ads returns right away? Is it a couple months wait until you actually see that you're making profits, or is it like that first month you're going to be making profit right off the bat with the Google Ads?
Oh, dude, I love that question. That's a great question, Paul. So most people got the game messed up. When it comes to marketing, you got to be willing to lose money to make money, right? So you don't just get, for most people. Now, some people go with a company and they start making money within a week. Cool. Most people, you're going to go with a company. It's going to be a month and a half, because they've got to learn your area. They've got to learn the algorithm. They got to see what people want in your area. They've got to test different ad creatives, go over the KPIs. What's your conversion rate? What's your show up rate? How many people are calling you? You got to know all these, because data is the most important. That numbers don't lie. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. So if you have a company that you go with and it might take them a month to dial things in, because they have to see on the back end what's working, what's not working. But once you find that winner, and once you dial it in, you're pretty much set, and you have to tweak here and there. But in Google Ads, that's how it works. But here's the thing with Google Ads companies in the junk removal space: very few and far in between. A lot of people really aren't what they say they are, and a few are pretty good. So you got to know what those 3 or 4 good companies are, and pretty much stay away from everybody else, from what I've seen.
Now, what is the actual return? So now you got to pay, something like 900, 1,000 a month to a company to handle your Google Ads and all that, plus the Google Ads on top of that. What can you expect in the returns? I'm just trying to figure out the hard numbers, because I hear everybody talk about Google Ads, but you never actually hear the hard numbers or what the returns are,
Yeah.
so what can somebody expect? Like they drop 10K that first 3 months, 10K a month.
So my rule of thumb, because I have a lot of my students running Facebook ads. We have a really good thing that I've taught them that really works for them. A good rule of thumb is you want at least a 3x ROAS. And for everybody that doesn't know what ROAS stands for, that stands for return on ad spend. That basically means for every dollar you spend, let's say you have a 3x ROAS, you get $3 back. You spend 1,000, make 3,000. A really good campaign is going to do 5x or better. But when you're looking at a company, and let's say we go over 3 months and you spend 10K, would like to see you make at least $30,000 from that 10K to be able to move forward with that company. 90 days is a pretty good amount of time, but we've got to remember as well, how good are we at setting appointments? They may be giving you quality leads, but if you ain't worth a damn on the phone, or you ain't
Yeah.
worth a damn at responding to people, that may be an issue too,
You got to close it, and you got to be quick. You got to be on that phone in a second. Like, as soon as they hit you up, boom, you're answering right back. Because every minute goes by, you could lose that possible client right there.
Yeah.
And Julio says, "Man, hustle, hustle, and not giving up." Paul and Sky, you guys are both go getters and serial entrepreneurs. Thank you, Julio. Appreciate that. Right back at you, bro. You on it too, my man. Arm wrestling news is over. For now, it's on hold. But I said to everybody else, we're gonna get that channel up and running again. Paul Italia Arm Wrestling is gonna come into my fitness channel and kind of just like my blog to show my everyday life and all that. So check that out for sure. Junk Star Services, Facebook's ads are where it's at when you work them right. Yeah, so I want to talk about that, bro. So
Yeah.
when you said with the ads, you've been really focusing on with the Facebook ads.
Yeah.
Now, what I was hearing was like, the Facebook ads were something more for the future, like something you got to nurture and all, because those people aren't actually looking actively for junk removal at that moment. So you're kind of just trying to get your brand and kind of ingrain it in their head. So like when they do go into that garage and today is the day, all they're thinking about is forget about it, junk removal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So with the Facebook ads, are you seeing the same returns as with the Google ads? And, I know you said hybrid, so I'm assuming you're just, saying do both. Is that
Yeah.
true?
So first things first, shout out to Junk Star Services. That's Trevon, another one of my students, man. I'd love to see it out of Atlanta, Georgia. Just moved up the road. But I'm gonna give you an unpopular opinion right here, but you got to keep it real. It's just about the only way to do it. People who say Facebook ads don't work really don't know what they're doing. And most people that say that are in Facebook groups. Most people in Facebook groups are not the kind of business owners that I teach my students to strive to be. You know what I mean? We're positive. We're hustlers. We don't make excuses, and we get to it. You know what I mean? You want to be a championship breed. You want to be the best of the best. We blame nobody but ourselves if something isn't working out. So, it's one thing I had to do was remove myself from all the Facebook groups because of toxicity and a lot of just misinformation. So A lot of people talk about Facebook ads, but they may have tried them themselves, but they really didn't know what they were doing. So I'm gonna tell you right now, the Facebook ads are smoking Google ads right now. And the reason is because most people don't know how to run them. I know how to run them because I spend a lot of money each day on Instagram and Facebook ads for my business. So what I was able to do was use what I use for my business, and then be able to tone it down for my students, and they're able to use it for themselves and just see a crazy return. Now, it does take some dialing in. It does take a little bit of a budget, but dude, I've got students spending $10 a day, $300 a month, with a 15x return. They spend $300 a month, make $4,500, $5,000 from them.
So just give me an example. You don't got to tell me the exact
Yeah.
details and all, but like, what do you mean, like by making the ads, fit that area? Is it like you're trying out different ways? Like, some of them are like videos, and some of them are, it's like just different ads you're trying out to sample what works in each area.
Yeah, so you're definitely going to want to run. You got to test the ads and see what works. But we've really seen that still image works much better than videos. People want to see what they have. You know what I mean? And it's just like for me running my business, if I post an Instagram reel and I show my personality and let you know what I do, people buy it for two reasons. One of the main reasons is because if they look like you, right? They look like you. They can, if I'm jacked, I'm an arm wrestler. I like smoking cigars. I'm trying to see what old Paulie's talking about. You know what I mean? I like this dude. If somebody looks like me. And then the second thing is, it was what you're saying resonate with them. If I'm saying, hey, if you're in a 9-to-5 that you hate, you make pretty good money, but you're ready to step out of that, bust your ass and make at least 100 to 250,000 your first year in junk removal with a pickup truck, shoot me a DM and let's talk. That's going to resonate with somebody like that and say, hold on, what's this guy talking about? So when you're running your Facebook ads and you're running still image, what are people seeing that will resonate? Maybe a garage full of crap that looks just like theirs and saying, hey, we'll give you a free estimate. Come by today, same day pickup service. That's one of the things I may have one of my students run, and it kills.
Nice.
Not a flyer. We don't want to run flyers and pretty colors and all logos everywhere. Believe it or not, that doesn't work well on Facebook ads. There's a key for some of you in here.
Okay. And like, as far as like demographics, how do you like set that up? Like, do you keep it more broad, or do you like hone in on a certain demographics? How do you work that?
Yeah. So you really want to, same way the Google ads, you really want to stay within a radius of your service area. So you want to keep in mind, if you travel up to an hour outside of where you live, that's where you go. That's really where you want to keep your radius to. You don't want to be too broad. If you only live in a community of 10,000 people, obviously you're going to have to travel out a little bit further. So you want to keep that radius really within an hour of where you're at, and, lock in that data there.
Okay. And Julio has a question for us. He says, this question is for both you guys. It's a real estate question. What's the best way to get started in real estate investing? So Sky, we'll ask you first, brother.
Yeah, 3 different levels of the real estate, man. You have when you have no money at all. The best way to get started, in my opinion, is wholesaling. That's where you're flipping contracts. You're going to find beat up homes, or you find a hoarder situation in a junk removal, and it's a $20,000 job. And you say, hey, I'll give you $40,000 for the house. House may, once you clean it out and get it up, it may be worth $100,000. So instead of you doing that, you'll get it under contract. You'll sell it to an investor and make a quick $10,000, $15,000 assigning it to them. The second way is, flipping a house. When you're flipping houses, you want to be smart because you got to pay a lot of capital gains tax on it. So that's the second way. The third way is obviously rentals. Rentals are a long play. You definitely want to get more than a single family household. You want to try to get at least 4 doors or more, and go that route, and you just build it up over time. Most people aren't going to get wealthy and rich off of only real estate from the beginning. You kind of want that to build that on your back end. And I'm sure Paul has probably a lot of experience with this, being multiple business owner and stuff in the past, but you really want to build that on the back end and let that come into fruition over time, in my opinion.
Yeah, you just nailed it right on the head. But the only other thing I would add to that is just education, is just learning everything you possibly can. And the way that I did that was I went to a real estate school to get licensed, and I did it in New York, and I did it in Florida, because each state you got to go get a different license. You know what I mean? Each one of them has different things you got to knock off or whatever. So that was the first thing I did, was just kind of like educating myself. It wasn't to go like start selling real estate right away. It was just learning this way. When I could start buying and get into it, I knew everything. I knew what to expect. I knew what to expect from the brokers. I knew what to expect from the agent. And just knowing that, you could save so much money. So that would be the thing. The best thing is just to start, and I'm sure there's so much stuff. When I got into it, there wasn't YouTube University. So
Nope.
I'm sure there is YouTube University and all. But the one thing I do want to caution you on is I think, are going to be experiencing a bubble popping very, very soon in the real estate world. We're witnessing that in Florida right now, and it's just getting worse by the month and all that. So I don't know if real estate is really the place that you really want to get in there, but there is always an opportunity to find a way to make money, in it. But, I would hold off for like the next year and just kind of see what goes on in the real estate world. And that's what buying any investments as well. Also, No Limit Holding in the house. He says, Mr. Yay Yay is in the building. Thanks for bringing the real content. Appreciate that, brother. Yo, Big Dog, we got to get you on here, my man. Hit me up on Facebook. Let's connect and let's schedule you in. Definitely want to get you on. Love your energy, bro. You always bring it for sure. And Junkster says, work with realtors all the time and guard them the houses, and you take the finder's fee. Easy money. Hell yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, I was thinking of that the other day. I came across a job. I did a full load garage clean out, and it looked like the house wasn't being taken care of. Very, very big property. Like, had so much potential, and I just felt it. And I just brought it up. I was like, are you guys planning on selling or doing anything soon? And she's like, actually, we want to downsize, and it's hard keeping up with the maintenance. And I was just something that popped in my head that I never thought about. You could definitely find a lot of deals just through junk removal and realtor and all that kind of stuff. So definitely educate yourself, and you could learn. Also, we got Joe Trashman. He says, get money, save, and build your credit for sure. Thank you, everybody, for coming in with lots of comments and lots of support. Really, really appreciate. Junk on, junk off. I love my job. Hell yeah, hell yeah. So, Sky,
Yeah.
want to find out, brother. So, how did it all go about? Like, when you started this, did you set up from day one, preparing to sell this business in the long run?
Absolutely, man. There's plenty of books out there, or the best thing I could tell anybody in here is mentorship is key. You know what I mean? Like, coaching is key. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a coach or a mentor. I don't got to be your coach or mentor, but everybody wants the key to success. Everybody wants, like, what's that secret? It's finding people that are way ahead of you and going that route, literally copying everything they do and listening and busting your ass. But off of that, you need to build to sell is what's in mind, because when you're building a business, there's only one way to go, and that's up. You're going to have downtimes, and you kind of measure your business on the low points, not the high points. You just always want to make sure you're kind of going up, even if you're dipping. And so when you're thinking of building a business, there needs to be an end in near, whether that's 5 years or whether that's 30 years. Either way, it doesn't matter, because building a business to sell is the ultimate goal. If you're not selling it, then really what you're doing is you're just building a job to work for yourself. And in that case, you should probably just be a solopreneur, do something like handyman work, or keep it a one truck operation. But eventually, when you're out there in the field doing it, it's only a matter of time before you get hurt, right? Like, no matter what you do, if you're doing manual labor, it's either going to be 1 year, 3 years, 5 years. There's going to be a time. And then you understand that, wow, I don't have a business. I really just have a job I work. So in my head, yes, junk removal wasn't something I necessarily wanted to do for 20 years. I did want to, I was at the point to where if I had spent another year and a half, I could probably franchise at that point. You know what I mean? And so I had to make a decision. I had a really, really good offer on the business. Wish I could talk a little bit more about it, but due to the way that our contract set up, I wish it was set up like Andrew Thompson's and these guys out here where I could just say everything, but, got to respect the new owner's wishes and what we agreed upon. But, Fly by Junk Hauler still operates in Greater Cleveland. It's an awesome company. He's growing it. The new owner is growing it. It looks great. But it was always in my mind to either, to franchise it and end up selling later, or to sell it when it was the position that it was at.
Now, can you give me some tips, like, what were some things that you had in place from day one? Because, a lot of things, like what I see is when people start their business, they don't set it up to sell it, and
Yeah.
then, like, I'm just like scratching my head, like, why wouldn't you do that? It's just a little more details you got to do and a little more effort, but
Yeah.
you could have everything, all the paperwork nice, or the accountant nice, have bookkeeping, and just from day one, if you have that mindset, you're increasing your value of a business. You know what I mean? So like, what is some good tips that, somebody that just starting off with might not know that you could kind of fill them in?
Absolutely. Well, I try not to be too hard on people because you only know what you know. In my business now with Junk Success, we have a lot of people that reach out to us and my team that message us and they're like, why would I need to spend 5 to 10K when I could go buy a trailer? Why would I need to spend that with you when I could go spend this on equipment? That's stupid. It's just junk removal. And it's like, yeah, it's just junk removal. But do you have any experience running a multi 6-figure, 7-figure business? Are you good in sales? Are you good in marketing? The actual part that counts. See, buying equipment, insurance, logo, name, uniforms, the jobs, that's what's easy. Running the business is the hardest part. Like most people don't have business experience. And so most people don't know that they need to have in mind, like, oh, maybe I really should be focusing on my books. Maybe I really should be focusing on having 5-star reviews and not cursing somebody out when they try to Jew me down on price. You know what I'm saying? And really look professional and keep things clean, because at the end of the day, let's say you're $1 million junk removal business and you've been working in it for 10 or 15 years. Just because you make $1 million, it doesn't mean that it's sellable. I want to say like over 90% of businesses do not sell. I sold mine in 3.5 years on a multiple. You know what I'm saying? And I had no issue selling it. And so most people, I've seen companies do 5 million plus that aren't really sellable. So some tips that I have is keep clean books, really pay attention to your KPIs. KPIs are key performance indicators. This is your income, your expenses, your advertising outlets, which advertising outlet is making you money. So let me give you an example. If you're running Facebook ads and Google ads, you have 500 in each bucket. Facebook ads makes you 5,000. Google ads makes you 200. Well, you have a 10x return on your Facebook ads and you have a nothing return basically on your Google ads. Let's take that $500 bucket and put it into this one. That's a KPI. That's an indicator saying stay out of this, get here. For people that, don't know, if you're making, under $400,000 a year, your profit margin should be around 50 to 55%, if not more, net profit. If you're over 500,000, maybe up to $1 million in that area, you're probably good around 40. If you're really working around there, 45 even for some. So you want to pay attention to your KPIs, your profit margin, clean your books up, present yourself well, and remember that you are your fate. Like you're your reputation online. Your website, your reviews, that says everything about you, right? So you want to keep a real clean appearance and a real clean reputation for somebody that may buy your business. You're looking to sell it. Let's say, I see it all the time. I used to see it in Facebook groups, be people that have like a part of a franchise and like, hey guys, I'm parting all this stuff out. We're getting out of the business. And it's like, what's the reason? Well, we don't have a great return. We're not making a lot of money on profit. Well, that's one of those things where it's like, you could do things on your own, but if you would have had somebody show you what your profit should look like and how to stay above that, you might have could have sold this $400,000 a year business for $400,000 when you exit, instead of exiting and not having anything. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense. And how did that process go? So you contacted a broker and like kind of was like had a middleman, work out the whole deal?
Yeah. So I actually had a business broker because I had people interested. People used to watch my YouTube, man, and they asked, will you franchise? Most people don't know for you to franchise, you need to have at least about a $1.5 million more operation, because at that level, you have SOPs, you have training, you have profitability, mostly if you're doing things the right way. And you have to replicate what you have here to go here, here, and here. That's franchising. And most people don't know that in franchising, you don't make a lot of money for a long time. It sounds good, but it's really a lot of hard work. So, I saw one of the comments come up, not to get away from the question what was the question you asked? Sorry, Paul.
About, as far as, I'm sorry, I just read this.
I read that too. I'm like, that threw me off right there. We'll get to that in a minute. But, you were talking about, broker. You said that I use a broker.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
My other question for that was, what is the percentage the broker takes from the sale?
Usually around 10%, depending on the size of the deal. So you sell your junk removal business for $1 million, they're gonna get a lick off of it. But they're the ones that shop it out for you. They're the ones that know everything you need. That's not where you want to be cheap, guys. You don't want to be cheap and try to do it yourself, because you'll get in trouble, or you might get hoaxed by the other person's attorney when you're selling the business. So you want to make sure you have clean work, you have clean representation, and then you can also write that off anyway. If you're getting a $900,000 or $1 million check, you got to pay taxes. You might as well give it to the company that helps you instead of having to give it back to the IRS, if that makes sense.
Yes. And now when you're dealing with that broker, does he do the majority of the work? Is it like a lot of work for you to do, or that's kind of like the broker's job? It's kind of make it easy for you?
You really want to look at a broker like more of a simple accountant or like an accountant on the selling side. Do you have clean books? You got to get your books over to them. What are all the assets that you own? Go ahead and get that over to the broker. Are you making what you said you made? What did you say you made on paper? What are you looking to get? What's the multiple? So for all those people that don't know what a multiple is, it's basically what times what can you sell your business for? If you're making 250,000 in profit, if you sell that at a 3x multiple, that's 3 times $250,000 in profit, right? So what is it going for in the area? And then they're going to shop it out there. They're going to put it on certain sites. They may have connections of people who buy businesses, and they call them and say, hey, I've got a hell of a junk removal company that's listed for sale. And that's, essentially that's how I sold mine.
Would you recommend also getting a lawyer?
Oh, 100%. You got to have a lawyer. You absolutely 100% need a lawyer. And depending on how long this they'll take. So, dude, I listed my business in like a February, March, and the business sold, money collected and everything by like a June. So maybe like 4 months. Most business deals are going to take 6 months to a year. 6 months is usually pretty quick, right? And so I had a motivated buyer. I was motivated. We went back and forth on some things, and it ended up working out.
What's the sweet spot to sell? I know it's like, I think it's like 5 years or like 10 years. It raises the multiples. So like, where's like the max? Like you're going to get the max multiple.
I've helped some people in the junk removal company sell their junk removal business, believe it or not. People on YouTube, people outside of YouTube and stuff, like, they came to me to ask how I did it. And I don't know if there's a sweet spot. You definitely want to be in business probably for at least 3 years to show that it's a real business and that it's just, you're not just getting lucky. But you really want to pay attention to the profit margins, right? So something like, a lot of us want to save money on our taxes. Let's say I'm making $1 million a year in my junk removal business, and profitability, I made 400,000. But I'm having my CPA write it down that I only made 80,000, so I don't got to pay no taxes. You don't want to do that if you're selling the next year, because that shows your bottom line at almost nothing, like at 8%. What you want to do is you want to pay more taxes the year before. And first of all, I'm not a licensed professional, guys, right? So this is not advice. Seek professional advice. I want to tell you guys that. So, but I would say in certain situations I've seen, what you want to do is make sure you're showing more profit, right? And your CPAs can do certain things, move them certain places, so you don't have to pay so much taxes before you sell that, if that makes sense.
Okay. And one last question on this is, how long did you go with business without having any employees?
I'll tell you what, man, I went about 10, 11 months. I had the two $30,000 months that I had in month 10 and 11. My girl would help me. We had a newborn. Sometimes Leilani, she'd be in the car, listening to music, got the truck windows down. And really month 11 is when I'd have friends, a couple of my buddies would help here and there. But until I really got a true part-time employee, it was right at year one. Thank goodness I had Michaela, my lady, to be over there to help me, because if I didn't, it probably would have been a little bit harder.
The reason why I asked that is a lot of people don't know about this, and this is something that I was talking with my accountant, and he thinks it's a great idea. Is when you have no employees and it's just maybe you and your spouse or whatever. Something you might want to look into is a solo 401k. It's something you could really, really take advantage of, and you could, I think it's like 55,000 you could put away. I think it's each person a year, and you can only do that when you have no employees. So for those guys that are just running their business by themselves, definitely go talk to your accountant about this, and you'll thank me later. You'll be able to save a lot of money and make some magic moves. And so Julio, that's one of those tricks you could pull and make some money and all that. So I want to get into this now. Ricardo's been going around, and Ricardo's good at kind of trolling the whole community and kind of stirring everybody up. So No Limit Hauling and Junk Removal, the Yay has a question for Sky. How do you feel about Ricardo from Texas shitting all over your name?
Tell you what, bro, I didn't even know this was happening. I don't even watch junk removal videos on YouTube anymore. The funny part is Ricardo, most people hate, if they're not hating on you, you ain't doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, Ricardo is somebody that asked me to be in his YouTube before. Ricardo is somebody that asked me to be a part of his course when he created one about 2 to 3 years ago and wanted me in there. So if he is speaking on me like that, tough break. I hate to see it, but he can keep doing it because obviously people know who I am. And if somebody's hating on you, got stuff going on, I always say I'll go live. Let's go live in front of the junk removal company and let's see who knows what they're talking about and let's see who don't. You know what I'm saying? Go from junk removal business to haunted houses and all this other shit. You know what I mean? Like, proof's in the pudding. Your reputation speaks for yourself. at the end of the day. So I ain't gonna speak too much on it. I wish the best to Ricardo, but I'm gonna keep doing me.
That's a classy answer, brother. And gonna throw that out there for Ricardo. Hey, brother, if you want to come on live, we'll bring you on this channel. You guys could sort it all out and have a conversation. But I wouldn't take it too personal, man. I think Ricardo just likes to stir people up and get reactions in the community, and he's very, very good at it. But I do got to say this, in defense of other people, he's so controversial that I had him on that first show of the episode 1 of the Junk Family, and
Okay.
I was inviting a bunch of other people to come on episode 2, and they just let me know if Ricardo was going to be on, they didn't want to have anything to do with it. And I cannot believe how many people said that. It's pretty crazy. And I just had him on that one time on the channel, but everybody was just hitting me up, and they're like, bro, don't bring that guy on here and all. I'm not going to throw any names out there and all, but so he definitely stirs up the community.
I think, there's different kind of entrepreneurs out there, and, you can see the videos of what he got going on with his customers and stuff like that. And the crazy thing about it, man, is that's how a lot of junk removal business owners are. You know what I'm saying? When you see those 2-star, 3-star, like, they talk to their customers like that. They carry their business out like that. That's what we call chuckle do-its. We call them a Ricardo do it. You know what I mean? But there's a place for them in this community. There's a place for the Ricardos. And so just like I tell my clients, that's not who we compete with. Y'all go over here and do y'all's back and forth in the Facebook groups and stuff. We're going to go over here and operate like $1 million plus business. That's what I say. We'll stay over here. Let them do that.
I love it, bro.
Yeah.
Load Runner says, Load Runners in the building. We love junk removal, endless opportunities. It's what you do, that counts. Let's get this money. Hell yeah, Load Runner. That's Sarah. What's up, Sarah? How you doing? Sarah, definitely tune in next Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific time. We have episode 2 of the Junk Family, and you were invited. Come on in. We're going to be putting the link in the chat for everybody to come and join and just kick back and enjoy with the rest of the community. The Junk Star says, you never know who's watching you. I'm at the gym, supermarket, kids' school. Always wear your branding. Most of the parents at my kids' schools know me as the junk guy. That is so, so true, Junk Star. And right before I came here, got on this interview, I was over at the barbershop, got a cut real quick. And when I went in there, all my boys know I just started this business. They're like, bro, your marketing, you are killing it. Your signs are everywhere. He's like, bro, everywhere in the surrounding like 2-3 towns, everywhere I get off and exit, I see forget about it junk removal. He's like, you are killing it. I was like, great, man. The kids are getting out there. I got them putting up signs everywhere. And, it's so that really does matter. Everywhere I go, I got my brand on. I got the hat. I don't have the hat on right now, but I got the hat made. And, I'm just, repping it. I'm actually setting up to get my regular truck that I just drive around, my Ram truck. I'm going to get that wrapped with the Forget About It logo and all that, and do the commercial insurance. I know I got to pay a little extra, but it's worth it. It'll grab a couple of jobs and all that. So Sky, what do we got coming up, bro? So what's your goals for the next 5 years, man? What can we expect from you?
Yeah, man. So, starting Junk Success a year and a half ago, which is the business I own now. I started Junk Success beginner to 6 figures. A lot of people used to reach out to me from YouTube to do one-on-ones. They'd be like, man, can you just teach me how to get 10K a month? Can you teach me? I've been doing this shit for years. I'm making 50K a year. I'm like, yeah, dude. So, I charge a few $100s an hour. And then they'd come back, and then they'd ask me again, and then they'd ask me again. And then it'd be like 6 sessions. And then come back 6 months, and they've done 100K in 6 months or whatever. And I'm like, man, I really enjoy this. So after I sold my business, I set out a goal to be the #1 junk removal coach, period. And so, I always say mentorship is the biggest thing. And, I paid a lot of money for mentorship to see the top of the top, do this coaching thing at this level. And I did it. And I set out to be #1 in it. And, what I see in coaching, man, is it's hard for people to last in this space, if that's all they do is coach, because you have to get people results. And you got to prove, you got to stand on where you come from. You know what I mean? You can't say, hey, I had all this going on, and then we research you and I ain't never heard of your business. I ain't never seen you do nothing. And so I was like, that ain't us over here. We could prove everything that we've done. And I was like, I know it's not going to be easy, but I want to create something in the junk removal and dumpster rental community that hasn't been done. And so I set out a year and a half ago to do that. I've grown my company to a team of 6 now. I have 6 employees, and we're really one of the only mentorship programs out there that kind of separate ourselves from just a class or just from a course. And there's nothing wrong with either one of those. But in a mentorship, the whole goal is to get you from point A to point Z. We want you where you're at now and where you see yourself in probably 3 to 5 years. We're trying to get you there in a year. And so who we focus on in Junk Success is a newer junk removal business or struggling junk removal business owner, really looking to make a footprint within their community, right? And get freedom with junk removal. We're looking for to help them achieve their dream, become a multi six-figure entrepreneur within a year. And so how we really do that is most people don't. I had a mentor tell me early on, making your first million isn't hard. Becoming the person to do it is what's hard. So I think people got to understand that as a coach, two things. Number one, it's not just you doing it in the past. Like you don't have to have a $10 million junk removal company to be a hell of a junk removal coach. The thing you have to have is the knowledge, the training, and be able to like affect people and get them to their goal. You look at Nick Saban, best college football coach of all time, 5'7", 150 pounds, played at Kent State, really wasn't that good, didn't play in the NFL. How would you say that he's the best college football coach of all time at the highest level? Well, he went and worked under people. He was mentored. He learned the game and became the best at it. So we really want to try to get that stigma of you've got to do all this in the space to be a really good coach. No, to be a really good coach, you got to bring the best out of people. And so I like to tell people, look at business as a sport, right? You have a coach from little leagues to the pro, no matter what sport you're in, whether it's Pop Warner or whether you're making millions of dollars a year. Even when you're a pro, you have multiple coaches. So you got to look at your little league coach and say, hey, this guy right here probably didn't play nothing longer in middle school or high school football. All the way up to high school, a lot of your coaches were alumni. Maybe a couple played college. And you have championship breed coaches, and then you don't. And so that's how you have to look at it. Business is no different. You need a coach to teach you the drills if you've never ran a business. You need a coach to show you how to stay successful, to teach you how to stay in business. And that's where I try to get people, in our community, like get away from this nonsense of I want to do it myself and bump my head and lose thousands of dollars, because now you have resources for people that can show you how to do it. Takes a little money to play, but we have different options. And so does other people out there. So you asked me, what does my 3 to 5 years look like? 3 to 5 years, I want to really expand into most home services altogether. But I have a mentor that tells me simple scales, complex fails. We're going to be number one in junk removal and dumpster rental. We're going to uphold our name. People may talk shit down on it, but, we plan on going to some conferences. We plan on, I showed my process in my first YouTube video in a long time of me running my team meeting last week. We had a couple of closed deals. And so just kind of really showing people what we have. 3 to 5 years, we're looking to be, an 8-figure or more company. And we're definitely on the way to do it.
Yeah, and I gotta say, man, I was really impressed. I think it was 86,000 last month that you guys made with your team. Is that correct?
Yeah, man, we were coming out of a dip, and I think as being not an influencer, content creator, you've got to show the real. We came out of a pretty serious dip in business, where I really had to look at and sit back and rebuild the bottleneck we had in our business. And so for people who don't know what bottleneck means, that basically means when your business comes to a head and you have to know how to fix it. Right, which is something I teach my clients. And so we came up out of it. I rebuilt a lot of things on how we did it. And then we came up and had $86,000 a month. And we're looking at, multiple 6-figure months coming up.
Well, that is amazing, bro. I'm loving the things that you're doing, and the numbers that I'm hearing is very impressive. We got a couple legends in the house I want to shout out. We got Sonoma Stronghold in the house. What's good with it, fam? We got Matt and JoJo Vic. How are you guys doing today? And those are like my mentors. They're right in my area. They've been helping me out from day one. Like, just amazing. Other people would look at me as like competition. Like, who's this guy coming in? These guys are helping me out, showing me how to do everything. I can't so much support, and I really, really appreciate it. That's another great thing about this community of junk removal. It's like a family, we're all connected.
Yeah.
And of course there's going to be some people you don't get along and all, but that's normal. Just like you said, when you're doing big things, you'll get the hate and all, but for the most part, it's been just open arms, and I really appreciate that. We also, Andrew Thompson in the house from Jedi Junk, now the owner of the founder of Autopilot Software, CRM, just amazing. Definitely get over there, sign up, beta testing right now. It's $50 a month. Make sure to get over there and get involved with that. Have you tried Autopilot out yet, bro?
No, I haven't tried Autopilot out. I've heard a lot of great things. I talked quite a bit with Andrew, over the years, and I think what he's building is going to be next level in this. And, through time, it's really going to probably make its way to the top. So definitely, interested in trying it out. Andrew, shoot me a message. Definitely, I have I have probably 4 clients on this right now that would probably be interested in, using the beta version. So.
Hell yeah! I'm actually one of the investors. I believed in it so much and all, and I bought in right away. And I've been using the service. I'm only up and running 1 month, but just amazing the things that you could do. I got free 5 tracking numbers, so on my yard signs, I'm putting one phone number. On my truck, I put a different phone number. This way, I know exactly where my money is being spent and like what's being returned and all that. So definitely,
KPIs.
yeah, hell yeah, bro. Hell yeah. That's it, man. So definitely loving it. And guys, I want you guys to get over to Skylane's YouTube channel, man. I'm talking about quality here, bro. I wish you'd post a little more, man, because you do such great videos, but I know all the work that goes into making, quality videos like that. And I know, it takes a lot and all, but guys, get over there, support this guy. You'll learn a lot. He's just the guy's a hustler. He's got the hustle bug. He's got the energy. I feel it. If you guys are looking for a mentor or a coach, he's definitely somebody to talk to. You said you had different price plans and all that. Like you have a couple different pricing points where people come in, different services you offer.
Yeah. So really quick, man, my spiel, like I said before, we're really looking for, the person that's probably coming from a 9 to 5 or just started their junk removal business or have a junk removal business that's not really doing anything over, 6 to 10K, or somebody that has a business that's looking to add on junk removal, looking to do around 250,000 in your first year of working with us. That's who we look for. The mentorship is made up of 4 parts, right? We have a curriculum, we have we have coaching calls, we have a community, and then we have resources to give you, things like pricing sheets, things like, there's a lot of stuff into it. So if you're interested, I run a lot of my business off of Instagram. Okay. So a lot of reels, a lot of breaking down of how we work on Instagram. You can fill out an application to see if you qualify. But who we look for is people that want to win, man. People that's not scared to take a risk. People that understand, you want to have at least 4 to 8K saved to work with us. We don't try to hide prices or anything like that. And most people with working at us usually make somewhere between 125 to 250,000 their first year working with us. So they either add that much onto their business or they do that in year 1. And so with that, that's kind of who we focus on, that really that beginner to intermediate stage. We're in the process of building out an elite. It's in beta right now. There's a few people in it. And that's for more of the people that are looking to go over 500,000, 750,000. SOPs, employee manuals, really intense marketing strategies where we focus on certain, hot zones of your community, and obviously BNI network and stuff like that. So that's exactly what we do here at Junk Success and who we look for.
Well, it was a pleasure to have you on tonight, brother. Learned a lot, man, and can't wait to see what you got going on with this coaching and mentorship, man. Definitely keep doing the big things that you are, and also want to invite you for next Tuesday. We got the Junk Family episode 2 going down. I think it's going to be on 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific time. You're more than welcome. Everybody in the community is welcome to join. We'd love to have you on. We got a couple of the top dogs going to be on. We got Sonoma Strong, Matt and JoJo Vic will be there. Andrew Thompson, Kevin Hess, Matt Fitch, Denise Sparks, Bean Burgos, Megan Schaaf from I Put Your Junk in My Trunk, and Todd Cardone. So we got a stacked crew coming on. You are more than welcome if you want to join us. And is there any other social platforms you want to shout out before we call it a night?
Yeah, I would say, my main one, like I said, is Instagram, Real Skylane, REALSKYLANE. Go on there. If everything sounds good, shoot me and my team a message. We'll have a conversation in the DM. Also have a booking link in my DM or in the link in the bio of my Instagram. Or you can go to my YouTube channels, has a link too as well, to fill out those questions and see if you're a good fit, man. So Paul, I appreciate everything you've done for me. I really, like I said, you keep this thing consistent, you're going to pretty much take over this space in this community pretty quickly. Very quality work here, very consistent work. You see, you got all the big dogs up in here. Sonoma, I shouted you guys out in the very beginning. So if you watch the beginning of this, big thing is paying homage to the people who laid a road before you. So you guys definitely did that. Good to see you in here. All my clients, good to see, Andrew Thompson here, and everybody who support or even don't support. Obviously, if you're in here, you're supporting. So Paul, I appreciate it.
Hell yeah. And we got one last comment from No Limit Holland. He says, Sky, thank you for keeping it 100. And I wish you and your business nothing but success. Mr. Yeye watched all your videos.
Mr. Yee, I appreciate that. No limit.
He is the man. I got to meet him over at the Junk Expo, filled with energy. Just I love the guy, man. Got to get him on the channel on interview. Want to get him out to the community and all. Thank you guys for everybody for tuning in. All the great questions. If you haven't already, please hit that thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to all the channels: Paul Italia, Arm Wrestling, Forget About It, Junk Removal, and Sky Lane. Hit us all. Subscribe. Hit it. The thumbs up. And thank you guys all for tuning in. Have a great night, everyone.